NBC5's Lauren Pretto.
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 This fire season alone, 10 Tanker has dropped over 3 million gallons of fire retardant over the course of 330 firefighting missions. Holes like this one here are why many skaters are concerned with the repairs done here at the skate park. Some of the vendors tell me their favorite part of participating in this street fair is seeing all the happy and smiling faces of the people that are coming through. Craig, the fire began just before 1:30 p.m. yesterday and is currently 0% contained. According to the Klamath National Forest, higher fire activity was seen until around 2:30 this morning. Kimberly Duvall with the Klamath National Forest says steep and rugged terrain is making fire crews access to the fire difficult. As a result, they think this fire won't be contained anytime soon.
Wilderness areas are roadless areas. So the only ways for crews to get to the fire is either hiking in or through smoke jumpers. And that's what's kind of leading towards the expectation of this being a little bit longer duration, just because of the more difficulties we're going to have of getting crews in to fight the fire.
Smoke has also begun to settle in the drainages, making it harder for fire crews to see activity on the spot fires on the northeast side of the main fire. Duvall says this smoke will settle in the evenings, meaning Siskiyou County residents will be affected.
I know it's not any good news to hear about having smoke in the residential areas and such, but that's one of the things that a lot of Northern Californians, they're tough. You know, they know what fire season is and how to handle it and push through it.
Duvall says an incident command team will most likely assume command by tomorrow morning. A fire information hotline has been set up at 530-643-0279. For updates on the fire, head to the Klamath National Forest Facebook and X at Klamath NF. Live in studio, Lauren Pretto, NBC5 News.
We start with breaking news this afternoon. An arrest has been made in the ongoing investigation into the alleged drug diversion at Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. According to Medford police, at 12:30 this afternoon, 36-year-old Danny Marie Schofield was arrested in the 5000 block of Rogue River Drive just outside of Eagle Point. NBC5's Lauren Pretto has just returned from a press conference with Medford police. Lauren.
Joe, MPD says the investigation started after Asante became concerned with a rising number of central line infection cases. It's a story NBC5 broke this past December. Based on records and interviews, investigators were able to determine that ICU nurse Schofield had access to each of the victims. Medford Police Department stated Schofield diverted patients' liquid fentanyl for her personal use and replaced it with tap water, causing serious infections. Schofield left Asante in July 2023. During their 7-month-long investigation, MPD says the medical experts consulted agreed the questionable deaths associated with the case could not be directly attributed to the infections. Medford police said a grand jury issued the indictment for 44 counts of assault in the second degree. A press conference was held this afternoon at the Medford Police Department.
She was lodged at the Jackson County Jail, 44 counts of assault in the second degree, and she currently has a bail of over $4 million.
I think that is representative of the number of charges in this case, and of course each of those charges are Measure 11 charges. So with 44 Measure 11 charges, each carrying a mandatory minimum sentence of 70 months in prison, I think that's why you see that bail now.
Schofield's next court date will be an arraignment scheduled for tomorrow at 1:45 p.m. Stay with NBC5 for updates on this developing story. Live in studio, Lauren Pretto, NBC5 News. Today, I spoke with Dave Siddon, Executive Director of Wildlife Images, about everything that's been happening these last few months. Wildlife Images opened Monday for the first time this year after a surprise closure.
We understood this time around, if we didn't get it right, there was going to be no other chance, no other opportunity.
According to one former employee, 22 employees had quit Wildlife Images by mid-January. Wildlife Images Executive Director Dave Siddon says he feels this was due to a change of culture.
The kindness and the care for the animals and all that was starting to subside. We needed some refreshing with the staff, and so it started back in December. And it's one of those things, as you're changing culture, some people aren't going to like it.
Some worried about the care of animals, like one porcupine named Thistle, who former employees claimed died of pneumonia when Wildlife Images was closed. They allege that the death could have been prevented, but Siddon says there wasn't anything they could do.
And it was basically a superbug. Had it been diagnosed, the minute it got it, probably couldn't have saved it anyway. It was antibiotic resistant and everything, and it took the porcupine out in about 2 days.
Siddon also says when he announced his son was being added to Wildlife Image's board, former staff members weren't happy. He says this decision isn't unethical, it's part of what Wildlife Images is.
My dad was on the board, my mom was on the board, I've been on the board and all that, and he had a skill set that nobody else had. It's funny, the governor was here visiting, and we were talking to the governor about that. She said, I think it's a great idea.
Siddon says there have been many rumors spread about Wildlife Images since the closure, but the most damaging of them all was that the animals weren't being properly looked after. He says that couldn't be more false.
The haters kind of went out spreading the word everywhere. And so we invited USDA to come in, U.S. Fish and Wildlife come in, State Fish and Wildlife, OSHA. Every regulatory agency out there has been in here with a microscope looking over everything, and they said everything looks amazing. So
Siddon tells me this time of closure was necessary for them to enhance their facility and restate their mission, which is caring for and educating the public about wildlife animals. Siddon says they've hired new employees for nearly all the positions that they'd lost. This includes new Animal Services Manager, Kara DeShazo, and new Director of Operations, Mark Waring, who both joined in December.
Before I was here, I was actually running the second largest rehabilitation center in North America. I'm in Houston, Texas. I just feel like, all my skill sets have kind of come together with ambassador work and clinic work and just kind of got to mesh at this wonderful facility.
Waring says getting everything prepared for opening day has been chaotic, but good.
It has been crazy. I've had really no days off, and I've been putting in probably about 12 to 14 hours a day to try to get everything ready and essentially build an organization again from kind of the ground up.
Waring and DeShazo both say they love this facility, and they encourage people to come and see all the changes for themselves.
I really want anybody that has heard any rumors or has heard any negativity about this place. I mean, it just gives me chills to talk about it. Like, just please come see for yourself and talk to us, with us about what is going on, because we're not ashamed. We want to talk about it.
You can tune in tomorrow night on NBC5 News at 10 on KOBI and NBC5 News at 11 for more information about the future of Wildlife Images. Live in the studio, Lauren Pretto, NBC5 News. Very thankful for all of our firefighters, both ground and aerial. Lauren Pretto, NBC5 News. Reminding folks to wear a helmet and other protective gear. Lauren Pretto, NBC5 News. Newly dubbed camera queen, Lauren Pretto, NBC5 News. Live in the studio, Lauren Pretto, NBC5 News.